and just so much other like amazing promos that you can only get from these events. So it's good to see that they're plentiful. They're in different states down here in Australia, and everyone kind of gets a chance to play for these, right?
Yeah, and they're still in demand. We've seen those finalist cards and even the participation cards. People are chasing them. The Don.
The fact that there's so many, and I mean, like, I think that's one of the coolest things, being able to get one of 10 Don and then having one of everything in there. But we're going to jump into it now anyway for round number one, guys. We just finished up all the announcements and stuff like that. Yeah. And it looked like we're actually going to get Nick on Kinemon and Briane on Whitebeard. And it looks like Nick actually going first and playing his Momo, which is a stock standard turn one play for Kinemon players.
Yeah, and it does look like in that top 5, he's got some film cards in there.
Well, he didn't find anything from that actually, but Briane actually opting when he had his turn one, didn't actually play anything for the 2 Don that he had active, which is feels bad, right? Depending on obviously the play style and the deck that Whitebeard is running, because there's so many different variants of Whitebeard, right? Like, the searches, you've got other things that you can play. Not seeing anything on your turn one play, even with 2 Don, is quite, I would say sometimes worrying, but quite interesting.
I think it's pretty common. I think if you're taking Whitebeard, it's a bonus to get anything on that turn one, because really the only thing in your deck that you want to play on turn one, if you're even running it, is Nami. Everything else that's useful is essentially for Don and above. As we see the skillless 4-drop Luffy come down.
Yeah, Briane really knows exactly what he's doing, right? He just swung with leader for 6k, then drops down the Luffy.
Yeah, and he swung into the Momo, which does turn on Kinemon's effect. And Kinemon gets a lot of value of being able to play these 6,000 power cards for cheaper, because they're essentially the only things that can really deal damage into that leader.
Yeah, and you can see it here.
It does open a bit of a window for him to swing 6, be able to play. Just opting to swing 8.
Trying to put that early pressure on, maybe feeling like Nick maybe didn't have anything in his hand to play that. I mean, he's got the Yamato. Interesting. He didn't opt to place that down and then rest the Luffy and then maybe try and get that off the board, but going for a Kiku instead.
Yeah, there's too much counter in the Whitebeard's hand to even try that. I've played Kinemon a fair bit and I've attempted that a number of times, and you just get punished so hard from a Yamato to try and swing into the skillless. It feels terrible.
And you can
only swing like 6 or 7 into it, and it's just 1-2k to get out.
Yeah. And Briane actually just now starting to put a bit of pressure on, obviously, the skillless, the leader, and he's playing another one. Frankie does come down on the board now, and he's going, looks like he's opted for the big hitters rather than the wide board that some Whitebeard players actually do have.
Yeah. The key to this matchup from Nick's side is definitely to get the 8-drop down on 7 or as early as possible. Playing that Akiku the turn before prevents that, which is a shame. But it really is kind of the best way to be able to, the following turn, just put an immense amount of pressure with 2 big swings.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Whitebeard now, you are on 2 life already. Obviously, the whole key that a lot of players do opt to go to is make sure that they don't take their opponent's swings, because you're going to take it anyway from your own effects.
Yeah.
And now you've got 3 pretty big bodies on the board to be able to kind of keep this pressure on now. At Kinemon, I can't really see what Kinemon's last card was that he dropped down. There's a bit of glare.
It's a 7-drop kid.
The blocker.
7-drop kid.
Yep.
Yeah, but if we talk about kind of the turn prior, he paid 3 for a Kiku. And then, this turn he had to play 7 for the 7-drop kid. Akiku didn't attack. Akiku got no value, and Whitebeard's not really playing any blockers that you necessarily need to worry about. Perhaps Marco, but it doesn't look like that this is that kind of build. Had you not played Akiku, everything else would have still been the same, except you could have played your Odin on 7 as opposed to the kid.
And it looks like
And
now,
then
like,
going
yeah,
back into your turn. Yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry, I was just going to say, Nick obviously opting to block that first swing and then using combo power out of his hand, tapping out every bit of his don, not having any availability for a like a response to these swings, and Briane just setting up the board, feeling like he's pretty comfortable now that Nick won't be able to do much, if anything, on his next turn.
Yeah, exactly. And if you replace that 7-drop kid with a Kinemon here, that's a lot of pressure that Whitebeard needs to defend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're at fear of losing, as opposed to this 7-drop blocker, which does get some value, but probably isn't going to be enough to try and close out this game.
He did have the Odin in hand, but
Yeah, he
I feel
definitely
like
did.
it's a bit too late to really drop that down, considering you're at 2 life, looking at 3 vanillas and the natural leader 6k, right? So just choosing
Mm,
Momo to maybe find some combo power for the next turn, because Nick's in a bit of trouble here.
yeah, yeah. He does have an X-Drake in hand, which can deal with the skillless Luffy. So we could see some kind of combination of a Kiku swing into the Luffy to try and get some counter out of hand, an X-Drake, and then maybe the 7-drop tries to clean up the other skillless.
Does have a
That's a lot of
jewelry.
Don investment again.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of trying to look at Nick's hand and see the cards that he actually has available to him. He's obviously got the jewelry Bonnie. I think he had. He definitely did have an event card. I don't know if it was Paradise Waterfall or not, but he's opting to obviously go for the standard kit package where you just kind of swing 8k. I would assume, try and get rid of this Luffy vanilla, since it's one of the only things that you can swing at. Obviously, it will restand at the end of your turn. An opponent's just asking how many Don do you have left active, and it's 7. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go, point guard, just to
The
get
guard point
no,
puts it on.
yeah. And you feel
Yeah,
pretty
I think that
happy
this
with
game
this
would have been a lot different had that been Odin in place of the 7-drop kid.
on the prior turn.
Yeah, yeah, being able to attack with it on this turn.
I don't think he could have, because Nick still has one Don available to him. So I think this is his last turn was his 7 cost turn.
Yeah, that's right. But if he had not played a Kiku the turn before, then he can reduce the cost and play Odin for 7.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, good point. And now, yeah, you're right. He's starting to really feel this pressure now mounting up. And it looks like Briane is just opting to, he cleared the Momo first with the Frankie swing.
Yeah, we see the that name is eluded me. The 2-drop extra card,
Yeah.
event card, I should say.
I've drawn a blank now, but you can say Briane is obviously opting to play for the Whitebeard, just 2k onto leader. Leader's going to swing for 8. He does manage to get out of it, Nick. But that means Briane is not going to be taking that last life, which makes me feel a lot more comfortable going into this turn, right? Now, it's going to be an absolute mission to swing anything at Briane, because the 8k leader, as we've seen, is such a menace to everything. And the card that Nick actually ended up playing before was Punk Gibson.
Punk Gibson, yeah. Yeah, and just being in that AK base, it just demands so much Don. It essentially shuts down a turn, especially when you combine that with the amount of 2k counters that Whitebeard inherently has, and just a large number of event cards.
Yep, and Briane was just counting cards in hand, and I was watching 10. 10
ridiculous,
cards.
yeah.
And
you're feeling very comfortable in this position.
Oh yeah, and how many of those are 2Ks? Like, let's be realistic here.
You got to be looking at least 4 or 5, I would think, with some other combination of 1k counters.
Hadn't used any all game. Like, you're looking at the drop. We've got a point guard. We've got the Frankie, and then we've obviously got the vanilla Luffy. The Kingdu is on field. The Newgate SR is on field. It's Nick is not not looking too comfortable here, and this is the pretty much what we saw in the previous regional, right, where just red runs rampant and opting to play the Odin now and then Beige straight after as a blocker.
Yeah,
Hasn't
yeah,
untapped the. There we go. Okay, that's a much better board state, but this is still dangerous now for Nick. I mean, you do have two blockers on the field to kind of get you through to the next turn. But Briane is going to be pretty happy here, just swinging, the 9K, then the King Do, then the 6K. He's going to have to lose some of these blockers going into his next turn.
hmm I mean, if you can counter out a one attack, you've got
Man.
another Whitebeard.
Yeah, you were saying he's going to counter out one of
I'd
these
say
attacks?
you're at fear of, I guess, kind of one rush coming down. So that still is only 2 damage where 3 needed to get through. But at this point, if he's going to continue to swing life here, you probably just opt to take him. You're probably not living through the next turn, and you're going to need Nick's going to need to close this out on his upcoming turn.
Well, he does have the Odin in play now, right? And he's on 10 Don, which means that he can just swing twice. Obviously, the leader is still now going to be at a natural 8K. So you probably will still need a little bit of investment to try and get through. But the problem is Briane hasn't taken that last life for the past 2 turns, and now it's struggle town.
Yeah, and we just saw the amount of Atamas in hand there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes back to that turn. He played the Okiku and it's done nothing. It has sat there for the entire game, and it really only hindered his leader effect the following turn by not being able to play that Odin. If he had been able to play that Odin, he could have pressured Whitebeard down even lower on life and even just swung once and chosen to keep it in active mode for the following turn because you weren't really at fear of dying. And then once you're in a bit more of a comfortable position, then you can all in with the 2 swings.
And Briane again just going over his 10-card hand, saying, puts it down and just says, I don't feel like I'm under any pressure now. He's obviously still got the 1 Don active, which could definitely be a guard point. But
or the Radical Beam, just getting to 12K for 1 Don.
Yeah.
I just don't think that there's an out here for Nick.
You might opt to, like, if you're Nick here, do you start swinging at, the rested cards, considering that obviously King Do is a little bit cheaper to kind of go for? I mean, the Newgate SR is same kind of thing as the leader at this point, but...
You can, but I just don't think you've got the defense to survive the following turn.
Yeah. I'm going to find out what Nick's ideal play is here. Looks like he has 2 Yamatos in hand, which no combo power, feels a little bit bad when you come into this point of the game where, you're staring down double Whitebeard King Do an opponent's lead. You already know that he's probably going to try and, kind of KO you on the next turn. So Nick is really in a spot where he's got to figure out what his best option is. And he's actually, I think he just added 7 Don to the Odin.
Yeah, this is going to be an all-in.
You reckon he's going for life here rather than just cleaning up the board?
Yeah. I think he's recognised that he's not living through the next turn, and he's just praying that his opponent's hand is so bricked that he just steals this win. Oh,
no.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's gone for the King Do. I thought so, yeah. I think here... he actually attached 5.
Yeah,
he attached 5. So that would have been a 13K swing, but... Interesting seeing this here that he is opting for that board presence and that little bit of clear 1 for another beige. He probably will tap 3 here to try and maybe get rid of the Whitebeard. I'm a little bit shocked that Briane also didn't really go for the defense. Just feels like he doesn't really care too much maybe, and now... Yeah, swinging at the SR, I would imagine, and Briane's kind of looking at the cards here, trying to see if you... I mean, you do save your other wipe... Oh, no, he went for life now.
Yeah, you're at no fear of dying here. He's only got 2 Don inactive, so he can't restand Odin. And at best, he can do an AK swing, which is just tying your leader. So you leave 2 for the Punk Gibson. You can do the math here. You've got two blockers available, but Whitebeard can KO one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just comes down to if Nick can survive the onslaught that's going to be this turn
Yeah.
and even find a way to close out the following.
I mean, any rush here from Briane, it kind of looks like it's a bit of a feels bad, right? You're going to put two Don underneath one of the Whitebeards, get rid of the beige. Nick's probably going to try and block one, I would imagine. Looking at his hand again, there's not really any combo power left for him here.
Yeah, and green always does struggle with large amounts of counter power in comparison to red decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just a flat up little 10k swing.
Oh,
Get
wow.
some value with the beige.
He didn't actually go for the double Don underneath to get rid of the beige for free.
Yeah. I guess he feels he's got some better use for his Don than...
I'm not sure about that.
Well, if you consider the Punk Gibson here to get the kid up to 11, it does technically survive the attack, and you either
there's another
try and get out of the next two attacks. Oh, geez. 3 turns in a row.
Yeah. Has taken that last
Kinemon is going to live.
Yeah,
Kinemon will survive this turn.
And has taken the last life now. Oh, and he was going for the Odin. And now this...
No, he might have swung lead. That Punk Gibson would have got him to 9.
But, I mean, if you swing lead here, if you're Nick, you surely just take that card, right? And now he's going for it. Yeah, I don't blame him here.
Yeah, I think he just knew that he had the cards to get out of these two Odin swings. Well, we'll see. Yeah, perhaps it was just a miscalculation, but that does get him out of the attack and steal so many cards in hand.
7 cards in hand. He obviously just dropped 3 now.
Yeah.
And Nick's obviously thinking about if he taps 3 here and then goes for the game.
Yeah,
well, you have to. You're already the next turn. There's no question about it. Yeah, you just restand, you go again, and now if Briane has enough 2Ks in hand, you've got it. But
10,
he's starting to put it down, so we're about to see
12, 14, 16. Yep, there it is.
Wowee. Oh, and that is it, man. Briane obviously takes that game very
convincingly. Yeah, 3 Whitebeards in a row.
Back to back, yeah. 3 turns, 3 Whitebeards. That's kind of like a feels bad.
Was never really in any kind of threat. You know, we didn't really see him using those event cards or those counter cards until he was on 0 life. You know, there was never any pressure prior to that Odin swinging in.
Yeah, that was quite convincing. Obviously, like again, we're starting to see all those other packages. It doesn't really look like he had any of the searches in the deck from what we could see. Obviously, we didn't see everything in there, but going for that vanilla big beat stick, you know, turn by turn, bringing your opponent down, and really starting to put the pressure on. But that's going to be it from us for game number 1, guys. Briane taking it down with Whitebeard, something that we've seen so many times, so often, and the reason why the deck is obviously so dominant, so popular in today's meta. And yeah, Nick just not being able to kind of push through. I mean, when you do see 3 Whitebeards, obviously back to back to back, it's not the greatest feeling. And then just the amount of work that card does. And that's obviously why he decided not to pop the beige, right? He made sure that he had enough for his next Whitebeard to make sure that he could play that instead of going for the blocker, and it ended up working fantastic for his in his favor. All right, we're about to go to, I think it's roughly about 15 or so minutes still left in the round, maybe 5-minute overtime for those players that haven't finished up yet. So it will be roughly about 15, 20 minutes, guys, before we get into round number 2. So don't go too far away. We've only started this long there. I think there's about 9 rounds, and then tomorrow we'll get into the top cut, but plenty more One Piece to be played. So, guys, that is it from us for round number 1. We will be back shortly, and don't go too far away so we can get round number 2 on your screens for you.